So as usual, block, ball will be helpful, stick, or something to hold on to for standing, for balance. Yeah, full body stuff today. We're going to get into some nice strength stuff, little fatigue. It's going to be happening. And I want to just actually start by like shaking things out a little bit. So shake it out. You can start with the upper body, with the lower body, or combine them a little bit. All right, try to get things loosened up a little. My personal preference is the hopping, and then everything else just sort of flop around. Yeah, just see how it feels. As I've said before, sometimes this can give you a good insight into like the health and tension in your body. You know, if things can flop around and relax pretty nicely, it's probably a good sign. Or if your body's like not comfortable letting go, you're probably going to feel that difference when you try to shake it out. So, yeah, nice way to get things started, I think. This one is one of my favorites. All right, it feels good. Looks bizarre, but whew. All right, so now a little more connected with the body, we are going to do some toe raises. So for today, we're going to give this a little extra focus, and we're going to do just 1 foot at a time. So I like to have 1 foot forward, the one I'm working. I find that makes it a little easier. And we're just going to go with big toe lifts to start. Okay, so we're trying to keep that inside edge of the foot down as we lift. All right, so, and you'll notice you may create a little more of an arch when you do that. There we go. What sometimes wants to happen is that the foot will roll out a little bit. So we want to just try to keep that down as we lift. There we go. Nice. Morning, Walter. Okay, now we're going to do the lateral toes, same foot. Trying to lift the lateral toes. So we still want to keep everything down there on the foot, except the toes. The tendency here is for that foot and ankle to collapse inward. So we want to keep that down as those toes lift, if possible. We really want to create movement there however we can, and then try to hone it in. Okay, still same foot now. We're going to now alternate if you can. If not, just focus on whichever one of those two is harder. So if you're able to, we're going to go big toe up, press down, lateral toes up, press down. And just alternate. We'll take about 300 seconds. Just kidding, that's too many. That's 5 minutes. There we go. Good. I was talking with some of my clients because I like to spit out acronyms sometimes, and some exercises: rear foot elevated split squat, RFESS, all these. So I was thinking I could spit out acronyms to you, and you could decide what that means. You could make your own exercises out of it. Just a real, interpretive kind of class. You can relax now. All right. So great news. We got our other foot. So we're going to do the same thing. We'll start just with the big toe. Okay, so big toe up and back down. There we go. Nice. Yeah, we'll do a few more of these. Always nice to compare to the other side and see if it's similar or not, more or less challenging. We're still focusing on trying to keep that inner border of the foot down, but that arch can come up. So most likely you are going to be creating a little bit more of an arch as you lift. Now we'll switch to the lateral toes. So same foot, lateral toes lifting. And you can play around with how much you're consciously pressing down. So as you lift the lateral toes, you can try reps where you're pushing the big toe hard down. Or you can try reps where you're just trying to keep the rest of the foot as relaxed as possible and see if you can lift the lateral toes. I like practicing both. Now, we're going to alternate if you can, if you're able to. So same deal, you're going to go big toe up, then down, lateral toes up, then down. And what I like to do with this when I'm alternating is each time I lift those lateral toes, I try to spread them away from the big toe as I put them down. And that way I maintain a decent toe splay throughout this whole process. All right, we'll just do a couple more. And then we can relax the feet there. And what I'm going to have us do is it's called a Jefferson curl actually, where you round your spine as much as possible, then get into the hips. We're going to do it nice and segmentally. So imagine just like we're doing a cat-cow, you're going to tuck your chin, round through the neck and upper back, spread to the mid and lower back, and then you're going to start to reach down toward your toes as much as you can, and then we'll undo it. So you're going to start to extend through the hips and then slowly extend through the spine. There we go. Okay, we'll do a few of those. So take your time, make sure you're breathing, tuck the chin. So starting with just the spine, you're maxing out that rounding through the entire spine first, then you're folding at the hips while you maintain the rounding in your spine. Then you're coming up, rounding stays, and then you're going to start to unwind, extend little by little. We don't want to push through pain. Good. Let's go for 2 more reps. So wherever you are, we'll go 2 more. 2 more nice reps there. Rounding. Fold at the hips. Nice big stretch. So this is that like stereotypical way you don't want to lift things. That's what we're told. There isn't anything innately wrong with us doing that. It's more that most people just aren't physically prepared for it. So this is a good way to get your body more accustomed to like big movements through the spine and the hips. Now that being said, if you're lifting really heavy weight, you probably don't want to do it with a really rounded spine unless you have specifically and progressively trained to that point. I have a friend who's done that and it's remarkable, but I don't recommend that for most people. We can still practice it without much weight though. Now we're going to do some shoulder cars. So for this, I'm going to have you do go one arm behind your back. Okay, I'm going to kneel down just to give a better view, but you can do standing, kneeling, whatever feels good. So one arm behind the back, and I want that arm kind of pushing into your back a little bit. Not super hard, but just enough to create some force. Then the other shoulder is coming across, reaching up, rotating, and reaching back. All right, then we're reversing. And go for 3 nice big reps here, and I want you to imagine you're trying to stretch your arm, which might seem obvious, but imagine like from this point to the end of your middle finger, you're trying to stretch that as much as you can in every direction. So if your arm was rubber, was elastic, it would be extra taut throughout this whole car. There we go, looking good. So 3 reps. Once you get 3, then you can switch up the arms. And we'll do the same thing with the other arm behind you, pushing into your back a little bit to create some pressure. All right, stretch as far as you can in each direction. There we go. Nice big reps here. Awesome. Oh yeah, looking good. So same deal, 3 reps. Keep the rest of your body nice and still. Looking good. Once you get 3, then we're going to do a little bit more for the spine. We're going to do some cat-cows. And with this one, if you're comfortable doing a kind of a kneeling position, we're going to do that. If that doesn't feel great, then you can do quadruped like so. But if you can do kneeling, I really like this one. I've liked this one. And I'm going to grab like my thighs or my knees a little bit like so. And that's going to give me some different kind of leverage to play with. So I'm going to be extended, so tailbone is back and up here, and I'm going to tuck my pelvis, my tail underneath, round through the low back, mid back, upper back, and chin. Okay, and then I'm going to undo it. Untuck the pelvis as the belly comes forward, slowly extend through the spine, ending with the head and chin. Let's do a couple more of those. And you can, if you're able to, you can kind of pull on the knees and thighs with the arms as much as you want to. So you're getting a little pressure there. There we go. Yeah, looking good. Okay, as you finish your next rep, then we'll do 2 reps leading with the chin. So same position, but tuck the chin, round, all the way down until you get to the pelvis, and then you can tuck the pelvis, maintain that position, starting with the head and chin, extend. And then we'll do one more. So lots of spine here early on. Awesome. Slowly work through that spine like a wave. And as you finish this rep, then, wonderful news, we get to do some hip cars. Okay, so for this one, we're going to go standing. All right, whichever hip you would like to do. We're going to go for 3 reps. So we're going to come across, up, pry out, rotate internally, reaching the knee and ankle back, and then behind you, and then reverse. Awesome. As you go behind, think about trying to stay nice and tall. As you reach back, try to find those glute and hamstring muscles as you drive back. Good, nice. Big rotations there. Going for 3. Yep, working on keeping that belly button mostly still. Ooh, once you get 3 reps there, then you get to switch it up. I'm going to switch up the hips. Okay, same thing. Staying tall, get that knee up high, and then kick that ankle back and up. Awesome. go. Just like you got a hurdle to your side. You imagine you got a hurdle to this side and you got a wall to this side, so you can't lean. There we go. Good, it's the same deal, going for 3. Alrighty, nicely done there. Next up, what we're going to do is some elbow cars, and if you have a ball or something to squeeze, you could use a block or something too. This is just to create a little bit more intensity. So, elbow cars energetically tend to be a little easier than some of the others, so we're going to make them harder. So, we'll go right hand, squeeze that ball. All right, so if it's an orange, we're not quite making juice, but we're bruising it pretty bad. Okay, so squeeze, pull up, rotate, press down, and squeeze the back of the arm, rotate, pull up, rotate as far as you can, press down. And we'll go one more. Rotate, upper arm isn't moving. Squeeze, rotate, press down. At the bottom, I want you to consciously try to squeeze a little harder. All right, now we're making some juice. Okay, pull up, rotate, keep squeezing, extend all the way. Rotate, pull up, rotate, extend. If you're really squeezing and pushing your end range, you can feel some real fun stuff there at the top. Last one, rotate, pull up as much as you can, then rotate and extend. Whew, shake it out. You ever get any elbow discomfort with anything you're doing? Pull-ups, rows, push-ups, anything like that. These are great to do. You can try them in all different directions. Usually, even if you have elbow pain, people can do these at high intensities without too much issue. So now back to the, to the other arm. Okay, nice squeeze. No juice yet though. Okay, for the first 3. Pull up, rotate, extend, rotate. Just like that, and repeat. We'll go for 3 reps this way. Good. And again, that upper arm is not getting involved, so we're not getting a rotation from the shoulder. It's all from that forearm. Good. Once you get 3, then you're going to increase the intensity of that squeeze, and we're reversing that rotation. So you're going to pull the knuckles up toward your shoulder, rotate, extend all the way. Really focus on that extension. Rotate, pull up, rotate, extend. Okay, once you get your final rep, then you can relax. But notice if there's any differences side to side. That's not uncommon. I had you focusing a lot on the squeeze, so I didn't want to add too much to that. But you can also think about, is your wrist and hand trying to do a lot? So your wrist is turning, but it's really a product of what's going on at the elbow versus your wrist trying to do this. Oftentimes when people are doing this, their hand is moving a lot and the wrist. So that's why I think about, like, all of this stays exactly the same. It's only turning. It's like if I had you watch Game of Thrones, like Jaime has like a gold hand or whatever it is. But it's just moving as a product of this. So, fun stuff. Now we're going to get into some ankles. So, we can go down on the ground. We're going to go seated. And you can go to whatever position you like. You can cross your leg here, you can sit, but I want you to find a position at which you can grab your foot. And we're going to do some passive rotations here. So I find with my butt up a little bit, it makes it a little easier. So whichever ankle you want, you're just going to grab, get a nice grip there. And I'm kind of stabilizing my shin, my lower leg, so it's not moving. And I'm pulling that ankle into a big stretch in all directions. Here we go. So this is fun. I think this is fun because your ankles and feet can handle massive amounts of force compared to some other parts of the body. So if this doesn't hurt, you can really pull pretty hard. Be careful, trust yourself. Then we can switch directions. But it's nice to explore, in each direction, how far is your ankle really able to go? Do you feel some different stretches that you're not used to? Ooh. Now I'm going to have you relax, and whatever position you'd like, you can do some active ankle cars. So same ankle we were just working. Now because they're so strong, and we're walking on them all the time, sometimes that's going to feel like a pretty tough workout for your arms if you're pulling your ankles all around. Extra benefit. We'll switch directions here with these ankle cars, not moving the shin, just trying to actively explore the biggest range we can. Yep, looking good. Okay, awesome. So now we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, so you're going to stabilize your lower leg, try not to let that move, while you pull that ankle in the biggest range you can. There we go. Again, not pushing through pain, but just trying to explore how well that moves. You can try grabbing different parts. If I grab lower down towards the heel, I might be able to get some different movement. And we can switch directions. Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay, now same as with the other side, we can follow that up with some cars. So anytime we're doing some passive inputs such as that, or passive stretching where you're leaning into a stretch, or even something like deep tissue work or massage, foam rolling, all that stuff is considered more passive. Switch directions. It's always good to follow that up and reinforce it with active stuff like cars or isometrics. There we go. I always feel a little smoother in my ankle cars after doing some of that passive stuff. Awesome. All right. Now, while we're down here, we're going to work a little bit on the knees and shins, so you can go seated on the floor or anything else you want. We're going to go to the other leg from the one you were just working. We'll go with the toes up and kneecap still, and we're going to rotate. So that shin is going to go side to side. Kind of like with the elbow and the wrist. We don't want to be focusing on doing too much with the foot and ankle. So we want the effort to be coming from up here. These muscles, these hamstrings muscles, around the back of the thigh, pulling this shin. Yeah. If you can do that with pretty good coordination, I want you to try going a little faster. If you cannot, then faster probably won't go well, but you can certainly try it. But for example, if you can do it slow, then we can try going faster. Sometimes if a song's on, I'll try and like do this to the beat. My right knee is better at it. So if you're able to do this at a bit of a different tempo, it doesn't have to be this fast, you can notice a few things. How quickly does it fatigue? It's probably going to be pretty quick. Mine's kind of tired there. And then also, how coordinated is it? Does your foot and ankle immediately want to help, or do you actually feel these muscles? Let's go to the other side, okay? Whatever position's comfortable for you. And we're just going to start slow. Okay, so we'll warm it up. There we go. Trying to gradually channel more of that effort from here. We're intending to move from these muscles here. Even if it's not happening, that's the intent. Now if you'd like to try it, you can go a little faster. And notice, as you move, is it just your foot and ankle? Is it your shin? So, pretty interesting. Because ultimately, we do want to be able to move this pretty quickly. For me, this side fatigues way faster. So, that's good information. I probably want to spend more time on this one. We can relax there. Okay, then we're going to come back up to standing. And we're going to do some knee hinges. So we just worked on rotation. Excellent part of our knee movement. Now, grab onto something nice and stable. What I like to do is, if I'm standing on my right leg, I'm holding on to something on my left. So I have something on my left and something on my right that is stable. And then this is going to come up. Okay, so we're going to go max hip flexion, pulling the knee as high as you can, slowly extend and hold, and back down. And you can relax in between. Good, and Sarah, that's a good modification there. So only push to the point that you can handle with that hip flexor. Okay, so up as high as you can go without pain. Extend, try to hold for a couple seconds. Return and down. Whew, we'll go for 2 more. So we're going to go for 4 total. Up, extend, return, and down. Whew, it's a tough one. All right, ready? Last one. Pull up, slowly extend, return, and down. Awesome. Take a little break there. All right, you will notice probably, and this is totally normal, that the opposite leg is going to be working pretty hard. That glute is going to be working hard to stabilize you. Okay, so now other leg, nice and stable. Pull that knee up as high as you can. Slowly extend, return, and down. Awesome. Pull up, slowly extend, return, and down. 2 more. Each time we're trying to pull up a little higher. Extend, return, and down. So fun. All right, final one. Bittersweet. Extend, return, and down. Whew. All righty. Wonderful stuff. We are going to next get into some nice deep hip work. So we're going to do some 90-90 stuff. Should be a great time. Come down into a 90-90 position. All right, I'm going to have us start with left leg forward, right leg back. All right, now let me adjust that a little bit there. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do to start is a couple stretches here. So I'm just going to have us work through this relatively easily at first. So I'm going to have I have my left arm kind of help and prop me up, keep it easy. I'm going to lean in, find a stretch on the front leg. Then I'm going to lean back, and I even like to rotate like that to find this stretch on the back leg. And then we can go forward again. So we'll go a few times through this, and just a few seconds each way, or a little longer if you'd like. We're just moving through our end ranges in this position. So this is going to be internal rotation on this back leg, and external rotation and hip flexion on the front leg. There we go. You can take your time moving through those. There we go. We'll go one more time to each side. Awesome. Use your hands as much or little as you'd like to. Okay, then we're going to make this a little more fun. So we're going to make this more active. I'm going to have us lean in and try to use this front hip to push us back. And we're going to do this for about 45 seconds. So what I want you to focus on is, you don't have to work super hard on the way in, but I want you working hard pushing back. And one way you can do that is by grabbing your foot, and on the way back, your foot and your arm are kind of fighting each other, so you're pushing down through your foot, and your arm is creating resistance to push through. Okay, so what we're going to do is, when I tell you to, we're going to start, and you're going to come in, push up to the point that you're pretty high up, but you still have tension. So I don't want this hip resting. So we're going to try to fatigue it a bit using these stretch tissues on the left hip. All right, ready, and go. So you're going to pull in, push up and away. Pull in, push up and away. You can make this as difficult as you want. So if you want to make it harder, you can make yourself work hard on the way in, resisting that pull, and then driving away. And we want to focus on these stretched muscles, these stretched tissues of the front leg working the whole time. There we go. We're almost there. So that leg and arm are fighting each other. Last one, and then you can relax there. You can we're going to stay on this side, but you can ease out of it, shake it out for a moment. Oh yeah. So that's a nice way to train this hip through a big range of motion, and stretch and strengthen these tissues. Another way you could do it, you could have a partner behind you pushing your back, pushing you down and up. So that's really fun. Now, so what we're going to do is work on the back leg. So for this one, we're going to find a position that works for you, where we're going to kind of glide this foot. So we're going to pry open, and this foot's going to glide up and back like so. So I want you to find a position that works for you. If you can be really upright, it's going to be harder. You might need to go to the side a little bit. That's totally cool. But I want you to work in a position where you can get that hip up, even if it's challenging. And we're going to take about 30 seconds here to go back and forth. And you're really, just like this is like a standing hip car, right? When you're going up and over the hurdle, tends to be the toughest part. So I want you to imagine you're really pushing through that toughest range of motion, like that. Okay? Okay. All right, ready, and go. So we're going to pry that knee up, trying not to let that ankle touch. If it has to rest and touch, it can. Kind of gliding up. Notice I'm grabbing my front foot for some leverage, for some balance. There it is. Whew, things will fatigue a little bit here in that lateral hip especially. Maybe your obliques. 3, 2, 1, relax. Whew, wonderful. All right, you can shake it out a little bit. Awesome. So that what we just did there, that's a really efficient way to work almost everything on your hips. So we are going to do that on the other side, as you might imagine. We're going to do a nice little thing in between though first. So we're going to do a bridge with like a segmentation. So I'll demonstrate real quick. You're going to bridge as high as you can off your back. Then you're going to try to push one vertebrae at a time, and then your pelvis, and then we'll repeat. So really think about trying to actively push each vertebrae down into the ground, not just lying down, but pressing. All right, we'll do 3 reps. I'll walk you through the first one. You can do the next two at your pace. Okay, so you're going to bridge up, extend through the spine and hips. Start at the uppermost part of your spine that's off the ground. Push that down into the ground. Then the next one. And then the next one. So we're rounding and pushing down every little bit. Find every part of that low back. Then the pelvis can come down. Okay, and then we'll bridge up again. All right, so 2 more at your pace here. Good. Little by little, pushing each vertebrae down at a time. Once everything comes down, then you can bridge again and do one more rep. There it is. Nice. Little by little. And then you can relax. I like that one. That's a nice go-to one. I often do that at night before bed. Okay, so we're now going to do the other side. All right, so right leg forward, left leg back, if you were doing the same side as me last time. Fun. There you go. Once you're here, use the arm or arms as much as you would like to, and we're just going to find some easy stretches. All right, not working too hard for it. Find a stretch on the front side, and then the back leg. Here we go. And we'll just slowly, we'll take a minute here, we'll slowly work through each side. If this feels good, if this feels pretty productive, I encourage you to spend more time in it, especially if you notice one side's harder than the other. I was working with a basketball player yesterday, and one side was like way easier than the other side. Much more easy for him to stay upright. So I told him, just start by, don't overthink it, just spend more time in that position. Stretch in that position, do some of this active stuff as well. But first, just get your body a little more comfortable with it. Okay, then we can come a little bit more upright here, and we're going to do the same thing on the front leg. So just like we did on the other side, you're going to use your hand and foot fighting each other, pushing against each other, in and out. So initially you can focus more on that push out and away. If you want to make it harder, develop more fatigue, you can have your arm and leg fight really hard the entire time. Okay, we're going to go for about 45 seconds and go. So you're here, in, push out. So I want that arm and leg fighting if you can get that. So imagine you're trying to rip your foot off the ground within reason. Not trying to snap anything. Okay, and your hip, your leg is fighting your arm as you're going up and back. Good. Trying to find the deepest stretch you can while still producing force, while still keeping tension. Whew, almost there. And relax. Awesome. And so I was demonstrating kind of a rhythmic thing too. You could also do this very, very slowly. That would also make it probably more difficult. You can really play around with all kinds of different tempos. So take a little break there in that position. We'll shake it out, and then we get to do the other leg. And so your positioning might look different side to side. For me, for example, this side, the one we're on now, is my harder one. So as I'm doing these glides, I just have to shift a little bit more to the side. So feel free to make any adjustments. But still, we want to be in a nice, challenging range of motion. Even going to the side like this, depending on how it feels on, like for Sarah, for example, for the hip flexor. If something's not feeling good, feel free to change positions. All right, ready. So now this one we're going to go for about 30 seconds. Ready, and go. So you're prying up, kicking back. Trying not to relax this leg. Not to relax this leg. Staying tall. There we go. And I like to think as I'm going, if I'm in a pretty good position, I'm going to try and pull my chest and shoulders upright more and more, and that's going to make me work harder. Nice. Almost there. 3, 2, 1, relax. Whew! That's delightful. Okay. Okay, well, you get a little time here. Shake it out. Regroup. Very efficient little series there. Not necessarily easy, but if you have like 8 minutes, you can do what we just did there, and it's a great way to get your hips working. We are going to come up to standing now, so we'll take a break from floor time. All right. And if you have a stick or a pole, that's great. We're going to use those now. Alrighty. So for this, what I'm going to have us do is start with an overhead stretch. Let me change that even a little more there. So I like to go with this, hands a little wider than shoulder width, and we're going to reach overhead, even allow some elevation of the shoulder blades. All right, and then from here, we're going to reach and tip. Whoop. Just trying to hit anything too hard on your ceiling. Okay, and then you're going to go to the other side. So elevate, reach. You might feel some contraction here. You're going to probably feel a big stretch on this side. Awesome. Now we're coming back to the other side. When you reach, you're staying kind of aligned. So see how I'm going to align here, but now I'm going to hold this position and I'm going to rotate a little bit. Whew. And then I'm going back to the other side and I'm going to rotate. So I'm finding that stretch on this open side here and I'm rotating. And then you can relax those shoulders. Whew. Oh yes, that's a nice way to get things going. What we're going to do next is some scapula cars. So I'm going to get a really nice stretch there first. Then we're going to do both together. So if you have a stick, Awesome. I'm gonna have us go palms up here. We don't often do that with our scapula cars. And we're going to reach out like so. So I'm gonna have us do 5 reps each direction. We get to relax the shoulders in between. Personally, I just feel better. I like to have a staggered stance with my feet. There's a tendency with the scaps to, as we go, there's like extension of the spine and the ribs flare. So with a staggered stance, I find I'm better able to keep my like pelvis and ribs kind of in place there. So we're here, a little wider than our shoulders. Reach slightly up. Good. Then we're going to retract, pull back, shrug up, reach forward, pull down. Pull back, shrug up, reach forward, pull down. Okay, 3 more nice and slow, just like that direction. Trying to keep those elbows straight. Tricky one. Once you get 3 more, once you get 5 total, give those arms a little break. Whew. Oh yeah. It can be surprisingly tough. You know, this thing doesn't weigh a whole lot, but it's a challenging position. Now, we're going to go the other direction with the cars, and we're going to go overhand grip. Okay, so a little different grip. Otherwise, same position. So we're going to shrug up, pull back, draw down, reach forward. Shrug up, draw back, pull down, reach forward. And we'll get 3 more just like that. Trying to move only through our shoulder blades. Nice. This can be pretty humbling. Surprisingly tough, even with only 5 reps at a time. Whew. Once you get those, you can relax there for a moment. Awesome. All right, give that a little time. Then we're going to get into some more multi-joint exercises. So we'll do some squat stuff, some push-up stuff, some split squat stuff. All right, so for the squats, one of my absolute favorites, we're going to do the kinetic stretch squat. So if you have a block, you can use that. Okay. And we're going to squeeze the block tight, pretend it's really heavy. We're going to actively pull ourselves down into the deepest squat we can, hang out in the basement there for a couple seconds, and then slowly drive up. So we're going to do 3 reps total. I'll walk you through the first one. If you want to adjust tempo or take a little break in between, that's totally cool. Okay, so I like to think about like my abs, my hips, hip flexors, shins are pulling me down. Tight grip, we're pulling down. Nice and slow and controlled. Deep squat, as deep as you can go. Keep pulling down. Now slowly drive up. Push, 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 push. Good. Relax for a moment. If you're ready for it, you can hit another one. So we're trying to actively pull down as low as we can go. Drive up, not losing tension. Awesome. One final rep there. Pulling down. Actively pulling. Good. Slowly drive up. The block's heavy. Whew. Excellent. Okay, you can shake that out a little bit. Very nice. So I love that for, strength through your full range. It's also great for assessment because if you go really slow and really consciously through it, you're going to be able to assess, like, oh, where do I not feel as comfortable or as strong? Now, push-ups. So, we're going to do push-ups for 30 seconds. Actually, sorry, 25. I intended to do 25. But I want you to try to get to your toughest position. Our goal is to fail. Okay, so I want 25 seconds to failure. Meaning, don't hit your face though. So let's say you're running out, just put your knees down. No passing out, no hitting your face. So what I like to do is find the most challenging position and pulse there. And then as I start to get too fatigued, I just come up. So for example, if I pulse here, maybe 20 seconds, 10 seconds, depending, I'm going to start to get too fatigued to continue. So I'm going to come up a little bit. And I'm going to come up a little bit, and then I'm done. Okay, so if you can pulse at your hardest spot for 25 seconds, good for you. Awesome. We're going to just try to maintain continuous tension and effort for 25 seconds. However you can do so. Knees can be up or down, whatever you want to do. All right, ready, set, go. So continuous movement, controlled, we're not losing tension, maintaining tension. If you start with your knees up, you can drop them, whatever. You're just trying to find all those muscles, make them work really hard, harder than they want to, but stay safe. Make sure you're breathing. Almost there. 3, 2, 1. Whew! Fantastic. Awesome. All right. Yeah, if you want to get real fun with that, we're just doing one set for today. But as you're doing it, you could shift and seek and destroy. Not destroy, but seek and fatigue all the different tissues of your upper body. So I did that a few days ago. I was not in the mood to work out, and I was like, I'll just do one set. And I did one set, 60-second push-ups to failure, all different angles, and that was good. It was like the gateway exercise, and then I felt up to working out after that. So, so now we're going to go back to the lower body, and we're going to do a split squat hover. So another one of my favorites. Nice isometric for the lower body. So you're going to go as low as you can control without pain. Lock it in. And we're going to do a push and pull with the upper body. So you're going to reach as far as you can and reach. That upper body can rotate. So I like to think about I'm not going like this. I'm keeping it here, but I'm pulling my fists away from each other. All right, so we're going to do 20 seconds per side, little break in between. Ready, and go. Reach, reach. There we go, getting a nice big push and pull. Pelvis is staying pretty still. All right, lower body's solid, but that upper body can move. It can rotate as the shoulders move. Nice. 3, 2, 1. You can relax for a moment, shake it out. Nice, and then we'll get the other leg forward. So let's switch up the legs. All right, ready, and go. Nice. Got it. Looking good. Nice big range of motion. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Awesome. All right. Take a little break for a moment there. We got one more exciting thing left. We're going to do hip cars for speed, if that is something that is appropriate for you. So just like we did in the beginning, we're going to do standing hip cars. We're going to work up into speed that you can handle as fast as you can go without losing too much of the range of motion and without pain. You could also do these quadruped position if you prefer. But if you feel good, then we'll go standing. Okay. So our goal is to take 5 or 6 reps to build into maximal speed, and then try to get about 5 reps at high speed. So it's not going to be quite the same amount of effort. It's going to be a different kind of effort. So boom, boom, like that. And then as I start to feel more solid, I can work into high speed. Okay, so once you're ready for it, just start, stay tall, knee up, ankle up, try to make sure those things are still happening, all one direction. Once you're ready for it, gradually build that up. See if you can get to a higher speed and try to get 5 reps at your max safe speed. Yeah, once you do that, then you can relax. So yeah, once the prerequisite is being able to do a solid hip car, then you can play around with the speed. Makes it more fun, I think, but challenging. So now we're going to go the other hip. Okay, same thing. All right, and you're just going to ease into it and gradually increase that speed till you get about 5 reps at a relatively high speed. And what you'll notice, as your hip mobility improves, as your cars improve, you'll be able to go at higher speeds while still capturing the majority of your range of motion, which is pretty cool. All right, final thing. Back to the first tip, we're going to go the other direction. This tends to be tougher to get the same speed, so no expectations here. All right, we're just going. The other thing is, we get that external rotation and adduction here. You don't have to go all the way here, or you're going to kick yourself. So we're going back, around. As you get more comfortable with that, try to keep that ankle high as you come around. Whew. Nice. Once you get 5 at the max speed you can handle, take a moment, then we'll hit the other one. This can be kind of surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, fatiguing. All right, we're ready. Once you're ready for it, work into it. There we go. Nice. Whew, looking good. Nice. You do not have to do anything else. I encourage you to just consciously slow down your breathing. I like to do a little more breathing through my nose as I start to relax. But yeah, awesome work. Great to see you all. Any thoughts or questions? Not too much? Cool. Well,